Hello, this is Pastor Steve West, and welcome to my midweek devotional on August the 19th, 2020. Do you ever feel wounded? Do you ever feel wounded? I was lighting my candle and enjoying my morning devotions this morning in my study using this book that a friend of mine named Larry gave me years ago, John O'Donohue's To Bless the Space Within Us. And I ran across this phrase, "May the angel of healing turn your wounds into sources of refreshment." Now, how can your wounds become sources of refreshment? Let's think about that for a few minutes today, because we have a lot of woundedness right now. If you're thinking about it, we have a whole lot of woundedness. We have the woundedness of the coronavirus, with how much it's taking lives across the world and in this country, and people are grieving, people's lives are disrupted. That's woundedness. We have the woundedness of the coronavirus. We also have the woundedness of systemic racism that we're acutely aware of because of recent events. It's reared its ugly head once again in American culture. So that's another form of woundedness we're deeply aware of. We also have the woundedness of political divisiveness going on in our country. And as a religious leader, I'm especially aware of how that divisiveness tends to impose itself on American religion and on the American church. We have the woundedness of divisiveness going on. And then a lot of us, of course, are dealing with personal wounds. We're dealing with wounds of grief and wounds of rejection and wounds of slander and gossip. I mean, we all deal with our personal wounds as well. So I'm very aware that we've got a lot of woundedness. And I was thinking about what the scriptures might speak to that as I read this little phrase, that we might be blessed with wounds that become sources of refreshment, and trying to wrap my brain around that. And I thought of a couple of scriptures. One of them is from Isaiah 53, one of what's traditionally called the servant songs of Isaiah. And it says, "By his stripes we are healed." By his stripes, by Jesus' wounds, we believe. By his stripes we are healed. And our wounds can only become sources of refreshment because they are healed by his wounds. The wounds of Christ heal and transform our pain. And so it connects us. Our wounds connect us with the love of Christ. So that's one scripture that came to mind. And another scripture from Galatians 6 that you might be a little less aware of is this. Paul is talking about his own struggles, and he says, "I bear on my body the marks of Jesus." I bear on my body. Can you imagine? I bear on my body the marks of Jesus. So Jesus' wounds heal our wounds because he is bearing our wounds in such a way where we become people who are bearing his wounds. And our woundedness transforms us and become sources of refreshment by the grace of God, not by our own efforts. Henry Nouwen coined a very famous phrase among a lot of religious leaders. Henry Nouwen was a priest and probably the best known contemporary Christian spiritual writer. He coined the phrase "wounded healers." We become wounded healers. And that's my prayer for all of us today, that in the midst of all this woundedness because of the virus, because of systemic racism, because of political divisiveness, which even imposes itself on the church, that wounds might become sources of refreshment because by his stripes, by his wounds, we are healed, and we become people who bear on our body the marks of Jesus. So they connect us with the love of Christ. So to close our time for our prayer, I'd like to read you a little more of this blessing, not all of it because it's kind of long, but a little more of this blessing from John O'Donohue, and make this our blessing today. May the angel of awakening stir your heart to come alive to the eternal within you, to all the invitations that quietly surround you. May the angel of healing turn your wounds into sources of refreshment. May the angel of imagination enable you to stand on the true thresholds at ease with your ambivalence and drawn in new directions through the glow of your contradictions. May the angel of compassion open your eyes to the unseen suffering around you. May the angel of wildness disturb the places where your life is domesticated and safe, take you to the territories of true otherness. May the angel of justice disturb you to take the side of the poor and the wronged. May the angel of encouragement confirm you in worth and self-respect, that you may live with the dignity that presides in your soul. And may the angel of death arrive only when your life is complete and you have brought every given gift to the threshold where its infinity can shine. Bless you and have a great day.